Hi, welcome to Math as a Language. Today we're going to continue our discussions of points, lines, and planes and take a look at how they relate to each other. And it's one of our favorite topics, so let's take a look. We're going to make our points a little bit large so we can see them. There's a point, we'll call that point P. And we're going to make a line. We've talked about this in earlier videos, a collection of points. And then our plane, which is a collection of lines. Enough of that. Alright, so the point with no dimensions is the concept, undefined, aligned, one-dimensional, lengthwise, and the plane, length and width, if you will. Alright, so with point P, our line L, and our plane, we'll call that plane M. Alright, so there we have it. Now let's take a look at let's look at the points, the relationship between the point and the line. All right. So if we have a line, we're given a line. Let's call it line, another line here, line M. We of course can have a few points on the line. We have to have at least 2 points on the line. We're going to make these points a little bit larger just so that we can see them. So we have a point here and another point there. So a line contains at least 2 points. At the minimum, you have to have 2 points, at least 2 points to determine a line. So we're going to have a point X and point Y. Oh, a little broad, but let's make that a little smaller. But we have our point X and Y on our line M. All right. Let's see what else we can have. Okay, that's good enough. Let's say that we have 2 lines, though. We're just looking at relationships at this point in time. We're going to make a line here. We're going to have line S, lowercase, and we have another line T. Alright, so we have line S and line T. Now how can they relate to each other? Now the first thing that we can do, as we've drawn them here, let's assume that we've drawn them perfectly parallel. If we have line S and line T, then line S can be parallel to line T. To parallel. That's the symbol we'll use for parallel, and we'll do that more in future videos, but this is how the symbol for parallel. And as we know, parallel lines, like train tracks, they go on indefinitely, but they never intersect. So line S and line T are parallel. They have no point of intersection. That would be one possibility for how two lines can relate to each other. The second one is this. If we can have a line going this way, we'll have line, we're going to use various letters, line R here, and we're going to have another line, let's go this way, with line K. So R and K. Now here you notice that line R and K do intersect. And of course, again, we're going to make this a larger point. They do have a point of intersection. So this would be the point of intersection, and again we will continue. We make sure that we label our point with the uppercase letter. We're going to use that as point T. So point T would be the point of intersection for line R and line S. These lines of course are not parallel, so we can say that there is a point of intersection. So T is our point of intersection, is the point of intersection for these 2 lines, point of intersection. Alright, so if you have 2 lines that are not parallel, then they will cross. Now the third thing we're going to take a look at in terms of 2 lines, let's go back to our 2 lines here, and we can have, let's go with a line N, and let's go with a second line. Now here's the thing that we're going to do. We're going to make this is our third possibilities. This is a kind of particular case. So we can have line L, and now we're going to kind of help you visualize this. Let's say that this is like if you live in a 2-story house, and this is the 2nd floor, and this is the 1st floor down below. Alright, now we want to realize that if this line N is on the 2nd floor, the 2nd level, and we draw another line, let's go with a line P, lowercase p, and it's at the 1st floor level. Now why do we make a big deal of this? We want you to recognize that these 2 lines will not intersect, but the reason why they don't intersect is because they're on different levels. This line is on the 2nd floor. Alright, and let's go back and make that neater. This line is on the 2nd floor, and the P line is on the 1st floor. Now, the reason why they do not intersect is they're on different levels. They're on different levels. They will not intersect, but if they're on different levels, and we just did this floor representation just to say that they're on different levels. They're not in the same plane, and therefore they do not intersect. But those lines, if two lines do not intersect because they're on different levels, that's because, and that's we have a term for that in math. Those lines are called skew lines. They are skew. So skew lines do not intersect, but they do not intersect because they're not in the same planar surface. All right, so that's it. That's enough. I think you got that. All right, let's take a look at what we can do with lines and planes. Okay, we're going to draw our plane. Let's go with a plane. Let's go with plane T. And we're going to have a line. Now we can have a line. Now there's two possibilities. We can have a line like this that is on the surface of this plane. So this is line L, and line L is contained in the plane. That is to say that every point on L is also on the plane T. So line L can be contained in. So L is contained in. So contained in plane T. Alright, so every point on L is on plane T, as opposed to another possibility. Let's make a different plane, another line. We can have a line here. Let's go with a line, let's say line S. Now line S, as you notice, it goes up in the air here, and it has this point of intersection where it touches P, and now we're going to represent the rest of S with these dotted segments because it's like an arrow piercing this paper or this plane, and therefore this line S passes through. It has a point of intersection and it passes through plane T. So line S passes through plane T. Interesting stuff. Alright, so there's a difference between contained in and passes through. Passes through is one thing, and contained in is another. Alright, let's take a look at it. Oh, and normally when you have it, if it passes through and there's a point of intersection, more often than not, we always like to name our point of intersection. So we can call this point Q. So it passes through, and the point of intersection would be point Q. Let's take a look at one last, a couple more relationships, and we'll be done. All right, how about two planes? All right, let's take a look at. We have a plane here, and we have so we have plane R, uppercase R for plane R, and then we can put another plane below it. All right, let's have plane T. So we have plane R and plane T, and again, just like the lines, if you notice that these two planes, we've drawn them, let's say that they're parallel. So one possibility is that they can be parallel, and they will have no point of intersection, no points of intersection. So they will be parallel planes. So we have parallel planes. All right, just as we had parallel lines. And last but not least, we can also have a couple of planes where they do intersect. Let's go with this color here. Let's nice blue. Okay. Our second possibility is that we can have two planes. We have a plane. Let's go with a plane N here. All right, plane N. And now we're going to draw a second plane. It's going to take a little practice to do this, but we're going to have the second plane. He's going to cut down this way, and it cuts down this. Now this part on the back side we will not be able to see, so we'll have that dotted. Now it's clear, and we go here, and you can practice this your figure skills as you go along. Now notice that this plane cuts across this plane N, so we have a plane M and plane N, and this is I will make it a different color. This is going to be where they intersect. This would be a line of intersection. So this, let's call it line L, just for consistency's sake. So plane M and plane N intersect at line L, which is a kind of an interesting situation, if you will. All right. So that's it. We just wanted to take a look at our undefined terms, our point, our line, and our plane, and just see and practice our skills and our definitions and how they can relate to each other. And it's a fascinating aspect of the geometry, and these faint planes and figures just continue to grow as we go through the geometry, and practice your skill, because geometry, one of the nice things about geometry, it is very visual. It is a very visual discipline. All right. And so those of you who really like to see what's going on with your mathematics, I'm sure will have a fun time in geometry. That's it for now. We look forward to seeing you in our next video. Take care.